Hi guys. So before we can start with the shaker doors for the customer, that wood is only being delivered on Thursday. I want to quickly start and make for Rob a pair of cross legs. I don't know if you remember, so 2 weeks ago we made the cross legs for the weddings and functions. The 20 pairs we made from pine. Now Rob saw that and he loved it and he liked it, and he wanted a set of that made from Japanese cedar, which is this. So I planed up a bunch of cedar and then chopped it up into 60 mil pieces, because these legs is going to be a little bit thinner, 60 mil, where the old ones were 70 mil. I planed that up and got that smaller. Then I quickly drew myself, just from here on the bench, I just drew myself a little plan. Because we have a narrower space, these must fit into, it's going into a breakfast nook. And the space there is not as much. I had to make it narrower, but the same height, which meant that the cross is now gonna not be 90 degrees, it's gonna go back to, in this case, 30 degrees. And so I chopped up all my pieces, 60 millimeters, and I planed them down to 21 millimeters. I then taking all of them, and on the miter saw, I'm doing my half laps to make them look like that. I do them on the miter saw because I want them more accurate. I want them furniture finish. So it's a very, very tight finish. If I can show you, I made them actually quite tight so that we don't have gaps and it's nice fits. So that now makes up the cross. As you will see, I haven't cut the miters or the straights on the ends. I left them all a little bit longer because I still have a plan there. I'll show you later. What I'm going to do with these, because they're now 21 millimeters, 3 of them is going to make up one leg. So what I'm going to do is 3 of them is going to make up one leg. In my mind, that's going to be a stronger joint. It's basically a laminated beam, shall I say. So I'm going to put one, just cross the grains the whole time, then screw 2 together, glue and screw, and then the last final one I'll glue and screw again to make up one leg. Then I'll chop off the 60 degrees that I measured. These with the angles there, I will then also use on these to cut the 90 degrees on this off. And hopefully that plan is going to work. So far in my head it's working. So far it looks like it's going to work. So I want to get this done quickly. Sorry, I did record all of this, but I lost the audio somehow. I think my microphone went flat. But so bear with me. I'm just going to quickly cut the last 2, make the last cross, and we'll take it from there. So guys, that's now all the crosses or the half laps cut. And I've just taken 3 of them, clamped them together so I can mark my ends where I want to cut them off, all 4 sides. And I just measured from the inside of the cross to this side and made sure all the legs is exactly the same. Then I marked them at the 60 degrees and made sure when I put it down that side and this side that my lines line up exactly. And that's where I will cut them off. So I'm going to take the first one now, cut it off, mark the rest, cut these and the rest off, and then we'll start gluing them together. So this round, guys, I'm gluing up with some Alkaline Professional, the red one. It's a lot more expensive than your normal blue water tight one, but this stuff is as harder than the wood anyway. Once this is set, you'll break the wood, you won't break the joint. So because they're going to put the granite top on top of these legs, I really want it as strong as possible. So I'm going to rely on the good glue. So I'm just basically, I gave it a quick sand just in the corners where I'm going to have a mission later to get into, making sure I use a lot of glue. And then personally, I like to glue both sides, especially the 2 shoulders. because when we press them in, we rub away most of the glue. So I like to have both of them saturated with the glue before I assemble it again. And let's get them together. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to get all of them this far, and then I'll start assembling them 2x2s, and then the final on top before we can start. Then I'll do first the final sanding on the crosses, and then we'll put the legs on the bottom. Let me get them all this far. So guys, that's all of them now glued together as singles. What I'm going to do now is first take those two, make sure I line up the center four corners, shall we call them, where the cross meets. I'll make sure I line them up very nicely before I glue and screw. In the end, I can always trim the ends if that is not perfect. But to fix that, once this is all together, especially in the small little corners, to sand that is going to be close to impossible. So I would like to get them as perfect as I can and then concentrate on the ends later. Guys, to connect the two legs, I've cut these beams and then I just half lap the ends. The idea is what I want it to look like. Something like that. So I want to screw this straight into the leg, right through this one, to get as much strength as possible into that. So I'm just going to cut the rest of the blocks quickly, and then I think that will be it for tonight. Getting quite cold in the workshop. It's about 9 o'clock now, so I'm going to finish up for tonight. So guys, that's now what the half laps ended up like. I just give it a quick sand, and they're done both sides, this side and that side. And then I also added the one in the bottom. The original idea was Rob wanted it to be in the cross from point to point. But because this is so narrow, I was scared that there's not going to be enough space for your knees or your legs. So I didn't want people to hit their shins on it. So I decided to do it on the bottom. And then once again, half lapped. The screws I put in, first I screwed the bottom beam or plank into this with a 70mm screw, and then I added the top one and screwed that as well. The same on that side, and then on this side I first screwed the long plank to this to have rigidity for this, and then I added the beam to add the rigidity to that. I'm actually very surprised in the weight of this Japanese cedar. It's very light. It's extremely light actually. And but this thing is actually very sturdy. So I hope this is going to be strong enough. I think it will. I'm happy with the end product. All I've done is I've taken a fine piece of sanding paper and I just broke all the corners everywhere to make it nice and smooth. I didn't want to router it. I like the square look of it. The joints all came out very nice, as you can see everywhere. So there, once again, guys, I must tell you, there's nothing that matches the Festool. All the joints came out perfect. Very, very well. So guys, that's a project now done for this week. Let's see what we do next. Hi guys. So sorry for the guys that was waiting to see the shaker style doors. I did some of the work this week, but not enough to add to this video. You'll have to wait until next week. Sorry about that. And then I've cut all the wood. I've planed it and molded all the wood for the shaker style doors. And I also glued up some panels and cut some legs and everything. But that you'll have to wait to see next week. Sorry about that. And then another one that I'm sorry about, guys, is I lost a lot of audio in the beginning of the video. So there's a few files that I had to throw away. And you only see bits and pieces of the legs for this week. But hopefully next week will be better. I'm still getting used to my new microphone. And the battery doesn't last as long as I thought, or as they advertise. So I really enjoyed working with a Japanese cedar. It's for me a very light wood. I don't think it's very structural. I don't know. You guys can comment and tell me. Maybe I just got a different batch or something. Maybe there's different ones. But it's a nice furniture finish. But it's not very hard. So I wouldn't make a tabletop or something from it. But yes, I really enjoyed it. The splinters and that stuff is horrible. They burn like mad, and it's very fine little splinters. I was sitting for hours this week just taking little splinters out my fingers. So yes, I learned something else there this week. So guys, for this week coming, make some dust, enjoy the week, have fun, stay safe, stay healthy. See you next week.